Oh, right, good.
Up she flew.
Is that us up and running? Right, let's go. Welcome to the Stramash Sports Show this Friday night. We've got a full complement. We're looking at the new Scotland manager, which I'm not going to try second name yet. I'll give him a couple of weeks to get used to his name. But I'll go around everybody, seeing what their initial thoughts are on this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you want on the show. Right, Chris, start with you. What do you make of this guy? Came from nowhere. It was a kind of left field choice, wasn't it not?
Aye, absolutely. I never thought Scotland would go for anybody like that, to be honest. He's got a decent bit of success at club level, but he's young, and also I think very young actually for a international manager. Plus the 2-year contract. They're obviously, I think both sides want to take a look at each other, which I think's a great thing. But no, I mean, I like the look of the guy, and I'm astounded that they didn't just go for the cheaper yes man Naismith. So I think it's a gamble, I suppose, but it's a 2-year gamble. But the age thing, I don't know what the rest of the lads think about the age thing. It's guy young, as they say.
Yeah, Glenn, what do you reckon? They've done this by agency. They went through a system and they threw up this guy in there. They took him. Is the glass half full or half empty for you?
Oh, it's about like 95% full, I think. I think it's brilliant. Absolutely. Finally, the SFA do something that's progressive and could possibly be a really, really good move. I'd much rather we go a gamble like this. Somebody who's got, limited in experience, but the experience he has got has been mostly positive. A bad experience at Monaco, but it was a big change. What he did in Belgium is really good. Named manager of the year in Belgium as well. I mean, I'm stunned that the SFA went through a process like this. Mulholland, you basically used an AI data analytical company that they use in the Premier League, etc. So 20 people straight away made it known that they were interested in a job. Not a single one was considered. They went through this process. They basically fed in what they're looking for. Somebody that they now have a team or a country they can qualify on a regular basis. They want to go to the next level. They want exciting football for the fans. They want to be more possession based, etc. And this is where they arrived. A guy that's got really good experience under 18s, under 20s and 21s. So for him to be so young and to be in charge of this, I think he's going to have a big say in what we do with our youth development. And for me, that's really, really important, because we labour at this point all the time about how people are not getting opportunities.
Yeah, well,
we're not developing the talent in Scotland. So.
I'll bring others in, Glenn. We'll get back to this point. David, a sea change from Steve Clarke in the right direction?
Oh, without a doubt. I think I wouldn't say I was 95% glass full, but I'm probably 60% glass full.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a fantastic move, and I agree with Chris. I was convinced Naismith would, by default, get it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think this guy could do really good things. And I think the old guard, gone. He's got to play the youth and the up and coming players, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Fingers crossed. Come on, Scotland.
Come on, Scotland. Alan, what's his name? Sebastian Pognioli, I think. Pognioli. Take it or leave it. That's what it's Sebastian. That's what we'll call him. What were your initial thoughts when he was announced as the manager?
I think like everybody else, I'm quite optimistic about this one. I think it's brilliant. I think that we expected them to go with Naismith. I feared the worst. I thought they might even put Gemmell in charge, and they've completely surprised me. They've completely they've ripped up the process. They've done something. They've embraced modern technology, and I think for as much as we slate the SFA. Here, I think credit where it's due, and I think we should give them credit for this, because it's a brave appointment. It's completely left field, but I was listening to them explaining why they appointed him, and what the criteria was is find someone from a similar sized country who has the experience, who can, because this could be transformational. This could be transformational. This is changing the way the Scotland national team play. Going from the sort of the Steve Clarke, Craig Brown approach. I think you want to say where you could go anywhere in the world and get a draw, but you don't really progress in tournament football to more possession based, more attacking. This could be revolutionary. But then it could turn out to be Bertie Vogt smart too.
Well, this is the thing. This is what I'm trying to get to. A lot of people now coming out and saying there's good Scottish talent out there. Why couldn't the systems that are using choose a Scottish manager, Scottish coach? We're all talking about John McGlynn not that long ago.
It's just the way things are. There isn't an outstanding Scottish coach out there at the moment who really sticks out. There isn't anybody. Looking to the future, maybe we could get you look down the leagues. Maybe the other Naismith, who went from Stenhousemuir area, he's doing well at Ayr United. Somebody like that, maybe him. But they're not. I don't think there's anybody who's really at a stage where you would trust them to do that. This is a big project. This is something that's aside from the First Minister, the Scotland manager is probably the most scrutinised position in Scotland. All the pressure is on that person, and everybody thinks that they can do that. Everybody is doing that job thinks they can do it better than the person who's doing it, and they get no thanks for it whatsoever. So he's ambitious. I want to say the Scotland national side are ambitious. So it's a marriage of convenience, I would say, but it's a good one, and I think that both of them will get what they want from it. But I think if Pognacoli does do well, then he'll move on. He's ambitious. He wants to manage at a high level, and so I think he sees this as a stepping stone to, maybe one of the big jobs. He's had the Monaco manager's a fairly big job, but managing one of the big teams in one of the big 5 leagues, managing in the Premiership or managing in France or managing in Spain or something like that. I think that's probably what his ambition is, and he's going to use the Scotland job as a make weight for that. And I think if we benefit from that, then that can only benefit Scotland. And I always think you should always want your manager to progress. You should always want, we always wins when a player gets sold, but if a player gets sold, then that means he's improving. So I always think that it's club or country, you want your players to improve so that they are in the shop window, so that other clubs are looking at them. And I think that we've stagnated a bit. And this could just be the jolt that we get. I always say I'm an optimistic pessimist or a pessimistic optimist. I can never remember which one.
Listen, don't confuse me anymore than I already am. Come on. The thing, Chris, this could be another Bertie Vogts, somebody who doesn't really know the Scottish system, the leagues, the players. It's going to take this guy a bit of time to find out who his best team is. He's not well versed in Scottish football.
Well, you can say that, but all these guys do the research, and also, I mean, we touched on the AI thing. The amount of information now available to these people, and again, he'll have a number 2 that can sort of discern all this information. So I think it's he'll come up to speed fairly quickly. He's an ambitious guy. I mean, I think the first thing, if he brings back Christian Daly, then we'll know he definitely is a Bertie Vogts Mark II. No, I mean, the guy's ambitious. The 2-year contract as well. We see each other out and see what's happened. So I think the fact, St Giles they weren't a massively fashionable team. Neither are we. So obviously, I'm looking for, comparisons. So that's what we want him to do. St Giles was with Scotland. So that's what I'm hoping for. And I think Alan, one of the guys, just typed in and says, hope the suits don't interfere with the manager too much. But I think by employing this guy, I think the genie's already out of the bottle. And because they could have just plumped and said, what, we'll save 50 grand in recruitment and don't even, in Stephen Naismith. So just that nasally voice, even the fact we don't need to listen to that on a regular basis is a bonus. Which coming from me, right enough, my accent's probably roughly the same, but I think it's a punt, but I think it's a very well informed punt.
Right, Glenn. Surely this must have been the end of Grant Hanley and other players. it's time we brought in newer ones. And if we've got a new manager, we need a new system, we need new faces, and we need a new team. Who would you jettison and think they've had their run? Because Steve Clarke was very loyal to a lot of players. And we've said in this show, perhaps unjustly, that they were picked ahead of other people. But is it time to look at who the young people coming through rather than the old stagers, as Clarke was keen to do?
Yeah, to be fair, I've always said it's time to look at the younger ones coming through. If they're good, if they're playing well, they've got talent, etc. Get them in the team. But I think with Steve Clarke, I mean, yeah, he was loyal to some players, etc., and he was roundly criticised for it. But these players fitted the way that he wanted to play, etc. I think you're going to see a few jettisons that are getting on. Maybe Grant Hanley will be. I don't know who we've got coming through. That's in defence wise, would I say step up and do a regular solid job. I'm not advocating for Hanley, but I do think in the striking department, you might be seeing the end of the likes of Lyndon Dykes, etc. You've got Robbie Ewer over at Sevilla. You've got Barney Stewart starting off in the Championship, etc. I mean, I don't think they're all going to go, but You mentioned about will he know the players and all that kind of stuff. Listen, let's be frank. International football is part-time as far as the management's concerned. The day-to-day stuff of it, but he will be spending all this time scouring, going through everything, anybody that's eligible, etc. And he, by the time it comes down to the first round of matches for the Nation League, he'll be well prepared, and I think there will be some new players in there.
David, I'll just pick up the point that Glenn's just made about going to visit grounds in Scotland to watch players, and maybe even going abroad to watch other our players in foreign leagues. That's something that Steve Clarke never done. He never came to matches in Scotland to watch who was in form. He always just relied on people from the last Scotland game. That's got to change as well, hasn't it?
I would think it has, and he was here watching a game last night. So that's a distinct positive as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, me too.
I'll stick my head on the neck. Hanley never getting Hibs team again, never made the Scotland team. The other, well, I would, I'll name names, but I'm not picking the team. But I think Steve McLean's had his day. I think Tierney's had his day.
Yeah.
I think we need to get these youngsters. You missed Kieran Bowie, Glenn, but that's okay. We'll let you off for that. Yeah, there must be kids coming through. There have to be. I don't know who they are because I don't go and watch a lot of matches. But and I'll have to say the guy Bevan, I watched him. He was terrific.
There's a lot. I was watching the Hearts game last night. A really entertaining game. Josh McPake, what a player. Calvin Miller, really good players in there. There is talent there, Alan. It's just given the chance, even in smaller games, maybe friendly games that you might arrange. But we have to test these players because they're damn good, because they're playing at a good level. Anyone that plays for Hearts is playing at a good team. Who would you see? I'm just going around people. Who would you like to see dropped, and who would you like to see come in?
I feel like Graham come into the squad. Luke Graham's started for Stoke now. Phenomenal player last season. Really good. I was disappointed he didn't go to the World Cup. He went for £2.5 million. He is doing phenomenally well, and I think he'll be the leader that we can have in the defence. I think he's the missing link. I really think he could be as good as Colin Henry was. Just if he gets the right. Josh Mulligan as well.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to Lyle Cameron. He seems to have gone off the boil a bit. The guy, the ones you were speaking about, Robert Ewer, maybe Barney Stewart and that. But I don't think we should just jettison everybody. I mean, I certainly wouldn't jettison Tierney. I still think Tierney's can still play a role. Andy Robertson as well. I think and we saw him again in the Super Cup final. Had a phenomenal game. I think he was probably Villa's best player in that game against PSG. Yep. So I don't think we should just jettison the whole squad, because I think that there's still good players in there. And I think that it's Scotland are in transition at the moment. I think the squad has to evolve.
Yes.
The phrase I like is evolution, not revolution. We evolve, we don't revolve. But we don't just have we don't just get a situation where we axe absolutely all the old guard and then bring everybody in, and then you have the ancien regime is gone. I think that could be a recipe for disaster. So I think if you're going to bring people in, then bring them in gradually. I think that was something that maybe Clark didn't do an awful lot. He did bring some players in, but he didn't bring them in enough. I don't ever know what happened. I mean, Ryan Gauld came back into the squad, but I don't know what happened to him. He seems to have disappeared. But certainly, we pick on Hanley, but Hanley's always been there. He's always turned up in that. So, but I mean, I think his time is. I think his time is up. But again, I'm not picking the team. But as I say, if there was one player I would have in there, it would be Luke Graham.
Yeah.
And maybe McCracken. Well, maybe not McCracken. I don't know. I'm in two minds about McCracken. Well, I watched him last night. I watched him playing for Bradford against Sheffield Wednesday last night, and he had a decent game. So he's had 2 clean sheets so far. But then I watched him at Dens last season, and he had some absolute howlers. So, but apparently he made more saves than any other keeper in the league last season. So statistically, he's good anyway, and he's only 25. So
yeah, he's good. So he's a good player, really good player. Chris, it depends on the results, doesn't it? If we start off with losses, then the pressure's on this guy big time, and then we'll see what he's made of.
But I mean, there could be pressure, but definitely somebody like Kenny McLean. I think he's resting his laurels a wee bit. He scored a couple of really, really good goals, but maybe give somebody like Calvin Miller the chance. But you want guys that will take risks. We've been to 3 tournaments and that was great, but we didn't take enough risks, and that's why we never progressed. We could have done some against a decent Moroccan team that were there for the taking. So we need to take risks, and essentially, there's going to be a bit of greeting and all the rest of it, but there's no other way to improve. You need to do it the hard way, and I'm hoping this guy's been round the block, even at a young age, defender playing in England. So, yeah, take risks. You absolutely need to. Otherwise, we'll either be stagnant or go back the way. And we've had the taste of the tournaments, but now we really need to turn up and compete. So, yeah, I'd be up for a few, howler nights just to eventually make it.
Fair enough. Glenn, just in something that was mentioned before, and then we'll go on to the broader point, goalkeepers. There are goalkeepers out there somewhere. We've just got to find them and give them time and practice and maybe introduce them. So there's a big fault here on the under-21s not finding out who the next keepers are. There's another fault with Steve Clark, who picked Craig Gordon, 40-odd years, took him to the World Cup. A guy without a club. And then you had Liam Kelly, who's playing in the reserves. So what will this guy do? What would you expect this fella to do? Would he be scouring everywhere for a goalkeeper, somebody with a Scottish granny? Or how does he get something bedded in for the long term? It's 2 years.
God, that's a really hard one for him. He's just in the door. That's a problem we've been facing for a wee while, and it's not really to be laid at his doorstep. I think it's more for the SFA.
Yeah.
There are plenty of Scottish goalkeepers. You look down the lower leagues, almost every goalkeeper in the half the championship, League One, League Two, etc. They're Scottish. They're not getting opportunities to move up further up the league. Young goalkeepers sit on the bench in the Premiership as well that are Scottish. They're not getting chances. There's a summit the SFA have called, etc., and they're talking about how to develop talent and give them more opportunities. That has to be one of the big questions for him in the short term, and for us in the short term. Yeah, you have to scour everywhere and find somebody. That's what Clark did for Angus Gunn. If you remember correctly, I know Angus Gunn has been great of late, but when he came in, I think he got 5 clean sheets in a row, etc., and he was good for a period of time. He originally declared for England, but wasn't getting an opportunity. He's, the son of Brian Gunn, etc., but was born and raised in England. But there were chats with him, and he went with Scotland. There's a guy, I can't remember his name. They were talking about a year ago. in the MLS that's eligible for Scotland as well. So they will be scouting. They will be looking for keepers, etc. But it doesn't look good. We're not developing them. We're not giving them a chance. And something needs to change. But how the SFA do it without the club signing up and say, actually, yeah, we'll play more kids. I mean, they normally it's self-interest with the clubs.
Well, that's interesting, David, isn't it? Glenn touched upon it, a pathway through to the Scotland team. I just mentioned before that maybe perhaps Scott Gemmell was complicit in his duties, trying to get people forward into the national team, because I assume that's what his role would be. Of course, under 21s, but the next step for them would be the full team. And we don't really have a pathway for these players to come through. And we're searching, as Glenn says, for the Angus Gunn because his dad played and he's Scottish, and tenuous connections from players who would rather play for England first, then no get that gig, come to Scotland. So that's not positive in our sense. We need to get a proper, clear pathway. I hope that this new manager can find a way to speak to the SFA and get these players through.
100%, and I agree with what Glenn said. It's shocking that teams in Scotland don't promote youngsters. At Hibs, we've got Murray Johnson, had him for years. He's got as much chance of playing for Hibs as I have. He gets far out, left, right, and centre. He's a big laddie. He's a good goalkeeper. Not a cat and house chance of getting to play for Hibs, in my opinion. So therefore, not a chance of being considered for the Scotland team. And I suspect there'll be others at other clubs in the same boat. Mm-hmm. And I hope Mr. Seb P, that's what I'll call him, because I can say that, Mr. Seb P rattles the cage, whatever iPod they're using this week, to get some Scots fellas in the team.
Yes.
People eligible to play for Scotland. I don't mind if they come from MLS. If they've got a Scots granny, why not? I've got a Scots granny. I'm quite happy with that.
You're right, though. But if you look through the Premier League in Scotland, I'm trying to go through the teams. There's hardly a Scottish goalie. I mean, Scott Bain. He's about. Bain, yeah. Is there any more than that are Scottish?
Well, Dundee did have a guy, but then they brought in the Canadian guy on loan.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
I mean, do you remember Kieran? You remember Kieran about, I don't know, probably about a year ago, the guy Kieran Slicker from Ipswich. He came on again. He played against Iceland, and it was a disaster. I don't think he'll play for Scotland again. So we can put young goalkeepers in, but then if they have a disastrous game, then it does knock their confidence. I don't know what happened to him. He's at Ipswich, I believe, but I don't know if he is playing or anything. And I think we just we brought him in, and then in the following game was Liechtenstein. We brought in the boy Ross Doohan, who's now at Celtic. He was on the bench for Celtic during the week.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have a dearth of goalkeepers, but I always think when do you bring them on and that? And as I say, if a goalkeeper, we always remember the howlers that a goalkeeper has. You very rarely remember the great saves that they're. Craig Gordon, you obviously remember his ones, but like you always remember the how. We don't remember all the saves that Angus Gunn has had. We always remember the howlers he had. Poppadom wrists and everything. Calling them that, so it's a difficult thing to develop a young goalkeeper.
The thing is, Alan, when you're talking about goalkeepers, and you mentioned the Ipswich goalie who had a howler for Scotland, but I can remember not that long ago, the Spurs keeper had a real howler as well. He let 2 goals in, just comedy caper stuff. And he was taken off after 19 minutes.
Yeah.
The new manager has instilled him into the first team. And now he's commanding that position as the number 1 goalie. So that must have been on Clark as much as the goalie, not taking care of the player and not giving them the confidence and maybe doing a bit more work with the guy. Because if you're playing for Ipswich, you're not a bad goalie. You don't become a bad goalie in one game.
No, but again, it's I suppose it's about confidence in that, and it's all about the mentality in that, because once a goalkeeper's confidence is gone, it's really hard for them to get it back. It's a difficult thing for them. So we had, we've just come up. We had a golden generation of goalkeepers. We had Gordon, we had McGregor, we had
Marshall.
I forget Marshall as well. And before that we had Gorham, and you could argue Leighton as well, who was all right when the ball was wet. Unless the ball was wet. So where are these guys now? What did we do then to produce these goalkeepers that we're not doing now? I think somebody at the SFA should be looking down and saying, well, what did we do to produce the good goalkeepers? And I think again, if we get a young goalkeeper and they're decent, then they end up down south. There was one guy at Dundee, a youth goalkeeper, and I think he's now at Arsenal. I think he's at Arsenal. I can't remember. Mm. But he got offered about £300,000, and they were like, right, off you pop. So if you're a man of 16, and suddenly one of the top English clubs comes knocking on the door and says, here's more money than you're ever going to make playing in Scotland, it's a no-brainer. They're not hanging around, and then they'll be down in the they'll stay down in the sort of the ether of the English leagues and that.
So we'll wait and see on that one, Alan. I'm going to go to Glenn because we've got a quiz to go as well, Glenn. If you can furnish us with the first question, let's go.
Yep. Okay, guys, there's only one Premiership match. It's the Dundee Derby. So it's a quiz just for Alan.
All right, aye.
All right. Everybody else can join in as well. Alan, you've got the best chance. You go last. Usual thing. Okay, who is the only non-Scottish footballer to be transferred directly between the two Dundee clubs?
Oh,
Alan's good.
And Alan looks happy.
Yeah. No idea.
Is it from Dundee? Which way is it going?
United to Dundee. I'll give you a clue as well. 75 grand in the 80s.
80s.
An international.
Oh. I think I know this guy. I think I know. Did he score against Barcelona, this guy?
Can we get an Aberdeen question next week?
The next one's got something to do with Aberdeen.
Really?
And Dundee. It's a North-East question.
Is it just for Alan, this one? Alan, what's your guess?
No, it's everybody else try. Because it's Dundee specific. So if you don't know, we'll just go to Alan.
Right, okay.
It's Tommy Coyne. Tommy Coyne.
It is indeed.
Yes. Oh, well done,
okay.
Mate. Well done.
What a player.
He went to Celtic at some point.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, great player, Tommy Coyne. I love
and
him.
Motherwell as well, I think. Here's one for the Aberdeen fans and the Dundee fan. Really sorry, David. We can leave this one hanging if you want. Which former Aberdeen footballer played for both Dundee clubs, scored for both Dundee clubs in the Dundee Derby, and was capped by Scotland? And Alan, you're not allowed to answer. But leave it hanging, yeah?
Right, leave that one hanging.
No, I know that one. I think I've got that one.
Yeah, leave it hanging because we're going on to the European football with Scottish clubs, Chris. It was Hearts drew 2-2, Motherwell got beat 3-1, Rangers scraped a 1-0 draw, Celtic are sailing. You could say 1 out of 4. Was it a mixed bag, good or bad for you? How did you see the European football for Scottish teams?
I mean, I'm really sort of grateful for anything at this stage. Honestly, you just, the days I know, Aberdeen, Horse and Weepish, those and all that in Dundee United, just steamroller and Barca, So just grateful that we're competing, I suppose, and it's a bit shameful to say that, but no, I think overall it's pretty positive. Obviously, the Motherwell one's the one that, but Freiburg, Europa League finalists, really you can't really say anything about that. But no, I think I'm pretty hopeful that most of them should get through, and I think it was a decent showing.
Glenn, did you see any of the games to whet your appetite and think, yeah, we've got a good chance in the second round?
I didn't actually watch them. I watched the highlights, and I love the fact that Wilson for Hearts scored an absolute screamer. There's the boy that wouldn't get a chance under McInnes. So he went off to play for basically Tottenham reserve football. But that's it. The new manager has given him a chance, etc., and he scored an absolute screamer. I think. Look, I'm quite hopeful about Hibs. I think Hearts have got a reasonable chance. Rangers as well. I think it's a step beyond Motherwell because mainly it's a step beyond almost every club. Let's not forget Freiburg were in the Europa League final against Aston Villa last season. They are a very, very good side. But no, I think Celtic look like they're through as well, barring a disaster. So it's been a good, positive week for Scottish football in Europe, and we don't say that very often.
Well, David, because I think Glenn's stuck. What about Rangers? I watched that game. I thought they were tepid. I thought they were slow, pedestrian. Nothing to get excited by.
I didn't see any, Norrie, apart from the famous tackle, which is all over Twitter. But
yeah,
well, hopefully that's enough for them. I don't know, but I think barring the Motherwell result, I think that's 4 really good results, and there's a fair chance some teams could progress. Yes.
I don't know if you saw the Hearts game, but Hearts went ahead. It was 1-0, and it's 2-2. Ended up 2-2. Is that good enough for them to beat Rapid Vienna? Is that
probably not? I would think.
Yeah, I didn't think so either because they're a good passing side, David. I thought they were, and they played front foot football, high press, and it put Hearts under a lot of pressure. And I actually thought Rapid Vienna were the home team at Gorgie, at Tynecastle. My God, so that'd be a tough challenge. Alan, what did you make of it all? Rangers, did you see that game?
No. Apart from the tackle, no. I watched the Celtic game on Tuesday night, and I thought they looked really good. I think the new signings have started to gel. I'm very impressed with the boy Casper, or however you say it, and the other fella. And I think Nygren as well as I don't understand why the Celtic players or the Celtic fans have never taken to Nygren because I think he's a phenomenal player. I think he's a brilliant player. I'd certainly have him. I'd have him at Dens. I think his stats are phenomenal. I think he created 12 goals and scored something. It was about 19 last season. So so I think they're starting to look good. I probably think that they needed one more goal just to kind of put it to bed. So you kind of think that the Celtic team that plays at Celtic Park are not the same as the one that plays away, especially in these kind of these playoff ties. They always seem to, the nerves sometimes seem to get them, especially away from home. Motherwell, unfortunately, I think Motherwell probably beyond them. Hearts and Hibs, I think probably Hibs have got a better chance than Hearts. And Rangers, I think Rangers may just scrape it in, but again, they're not. It's kind of weird for Rangers because in recent years it's been the European form that's kind of kept the fans kind of happy. They've had the abysmal performances in the league, and Europe's kind of been their escape where they've done well. I don't think they did that. I don't think they've done particularly well. I think there seems to be, maybe it's just the new manager and that, but there's obviously something not quite right at Ibrox. I don't know what it is. I think, as I say, maybe just the expectations are too much, and sometimes they may need to be tempered.
Well, I tell you what, McInnes gets the award for the Deludimal Prize, as we used to say on Caledon, because he came out and he justified the tackle. He nearly broke the guy's leg. And he justified it by saying he was trying to win a foul to get a penalty. We all thought it was going to be a penalty to us until they looked at it on the telly. Then they found out he nearly broke the guy's leg, by sticking his own leg in, trying to affect a penalty. If that's your excuse, McInnes, you're on thin paper ground. He's under pressure, that manager.
No, I think he's got to defend his own player. I mean.
Okay, come on,
Alan. I know. But you look at it from this. But I mean, privately, he'll probably be seething about it. But in public, the manager will always defend the player, and I you would expect that. But I think that's just for public consumption. I think a lot of it, behind closed doors, he'll be saying, look, this it could have had catastrophic consequences, especially if they've been reduced to 10 men. So.
Yeah.
But I think it's just kind of a cliche that the manager's always going to try and defend the indefensible, because that's what managers do.
We'll get on to the football a little bit later, but golf's on the agenda, Glenn. There's a big tournament happening in Scotland at Donald Trump's course. I hate calling it that. The course that Donald Trump owns. But it is a cracking course. It's well designed and it's quite penal. But there's 16, 15 Scots competing.
Yeah.
That's
why I like this tournament. Yeah, it's like that, the Dunhill Championship as well. I mean, there's not too many events where lots of Scots get to play in, So it's probably the biggest field apart from the Dunhill, and it's at Trump. It's at the new one though, so they opened the second course, so they're playing on that, and it's despite the owner, it's a wonderful course. Honestly, probably one of the best links courses you'll ever see. And Scott Jemisin's leading, 3 under and doing well. It's mixed results for the rest of them, but it's a good watch. I'm torn between thinking, well, I should maybe just pop along and have a look, but then I'm towards Donald Trump, so no, it'll have to be the TV for me.
No, I don't want to go Donald Trump. Oh, it sticks in my craw a wee bit, that. But is there anyone there that takes your fancy? How in the Scottish ones in particular, that makes you see a charge from them?
Well, not a charge just yet. It'll be interesting to watch tomorrow, moving day, etc. But I'll tell you who I was impressed with. It's a young lad. Well, he's not so young now, mid-20s. Connor Syme. He was a very good amateur. He's done okay as a pro, but he's never really made the breakthrough. But he started his tournament on the first hole, par 5, going for a birdie. He was 18 yards away, and he putted, just missed the hole, and it ran off, and it ended off the green 47 yards away. I mean, you start off 18, you end up 47, and he ended up taking an 8, and it's horrendous. I actually felt sorry. I'd say I've got a slightly lower score than him, but the mental fortitude, because the boy came back, and now after day 2, he's 1 under, and he's tied 10th. So he might make it. He's only 2 shots behind the leaders. So if he can overcome that, there's a chance that Connor might be in the mix as well.
Yeah, that's fortitude. That is guts to do that, because last year, who was it? Somebody, Callum Hill was disqualified because he had the exact same problem as Connor Syme, and he was racking up to about 8. But instead of putting out to finish the hole, Callum Hill picked up his ball and walked off the course, and he was disqualified. So it just golf can just like do your head because you've got a wee ball that just has to go in the hole. That's all you've got to do. Easier said than done.
Make it sound really simple, don't you? Next time we're playing, Norrie, and you miss a putt, I'm going to remind you about that.
Listen, but I'm not a professional. I'm not a pro. Connor Syme, he's they're at 1 under. Ewan Ferguson struggling to make an impact. Even at the Open, he missed a cut. The Genesis, he wasn't doing particularly well there. He's in a bit of a slump. He's at 1 over. There's a few. It's a very international collection of players. Cameron Adam, I've never heard of him, Glenn. He's a new guy.
No, he'll be one of the young ones that they give a chance. Every time there's a tournament, if it's a Spanish Open or whatever kind of thing, you'll find that a lot of young Spaniards getting a chance as well. So there's probably 5 or 6 Scots in there that don't normally get on the DP Tour. They'll be in sponsor invites or tour invites, and he'll be one of them. And it'll be a great experience for him. Yeah. So fingers crossed he can do well. I noticed that, I don't know if you remember Martin Laird. He used to play on the PGA Tour, So he's lost his card over in America. He's back playing the DP Tour, and he's struggling as well. So he's 5 over, and he probably would have fancied his chances of getting a reasonable score.
Yeah, I'll have to update this because it looks like he's 3 over, but maybe it's changed to 5. Grant Forrest, he's
5 over after 14, so maybe he's had a double bogey.
Maybe he has. Grant, let's see who else down the bottom of my page. Who else is? Look for the Solitaire. Gregor Graham. It must be an invite for these young players on the tour. The other tour.
It's develop young talent kind of thing. It's a good thing to do. So as I say, every country they play in, there'll be like 5 or 6 invites to the young golfers, that are decent amateurs, just turning pro, etc. Give them an opportunity to actually get on there, get experience, and maybe if they do well, they get an invite for the next week, etc.
Well, do you know what was the guy that missed the pots and got an 8? He's at -1, isn't he?
Yeah, so he's joint 10th, Connor Syme.
Do you know what? There's 135th. You're at 22 over for some players. 22 over. Now, last year, if the guy hadn't picked up his ball and walked off, you never know in golf, do you? You just don't know. The wind could change direction, and you could hit a bit of form and then get a couple of birdies. Blah blah blah. It's not over till the fat lady sings, but it looks like an amazing course, Glenn. Not one that I'd like to play, by the way. It's too penal for me, because if you go 1 inch into the rough, it's a nightmare getting out of it. It's tough going. I don't fancy it. I don't fancy it at all. Who do you think? Who do you pick to win it? Have you got a favourite?
No, not really. It's you know what? I'll have a better idea tomorrow. It's only a couple of days in. Look, anybody that's under par at the moment's got a really good chance. As I say, there's only a couple of shots in it, but if you put a run together, I would expect someone with experience of links golf will have the best chance, because it is a links course. It's one of the, and as you alluded to, it's one of the most penal links courses around. So you'll find guys that play parkland courses are really going to suffer. They're used to hitting it long anywhere kind of thing, and they can always recover and get it onto the green kind of thing. No, you've got to be deadly accurate here. It's a different game, as we know, and this will be the first time that most of these golfers have ever played this course.
I think that's why we're getting 22 overs. For professional players, that is quite amazing. But we'll look at that one. We'll catch up on it next week when we find out who's won it, because it carries on till Sunday. But we're just keeping a wee eye on it, and there's a lot of Scottish attention on it. And the leader is a Scot, so that's no bad. That's good going for us. Glenn, your second question. What was it? Dundee, Aberdeen, and Dundee United?
Yeah. So, which former Aberdeen footballer played for both Dundee clubs? He scored for both Dundee clubs in the Dundee Derby, and he was capped by Scotland. Everybody else before Alan? Was it Alan knows already?
Was it Mackay Stephen?
No, he didn't play for Dundee. He didn't play for Dundee, did he?
No.
Let me think. How far back are we going?
90. I'll give you a clue. I met him in a dodgy bar in Italy, and after a Scotland game.
Not Robbie Winter. Was that somebody like that? Is it Robbie Winter?
That?
It's not Robbie Winters, no.
No idea.
No.
But you know what? Robbie Winters was involved in a transfer deal with him.
Is
this the same dodgy bar?
Robbie Winters went to Aberdeen, and this guy left the other way.
I can't remember. Man.
And paid £700,000 as well.
Yeah.
What was his name? I can't remember. I could be here all night.
All right, so we'll just go to Alan then, shall we?
Alan?
Billy Dodd.
That's it. Billy Dodd.
Billy Dodd.
That's it. The man that's played for just about every club in Scotland, Poof,
yeah. And he's starting to manage them all as well now.
Can I tell you a story about him?
Yes, go for it.
It's about
so Dundee were playing United. This is the reason. Well, this was allegedly the reason why you got transferred out. Dundee were playing United at Dens, and they got beat 4-0. And the atmosphere that night was just absolute poison. It was like being in Turkey or something. It was the most poisonous atmosphere I've ever had at a Dundee derby. There was bottles getting thrown on the pitch and that from the dairy at the linesman and everything. And so Billy Dodds got sent off. And what allegedly happened was Malcolm Reid, who was the chairman, came down and started screaming at him in the changing room. So Dodds just went and walloped him. And then Simon Steinrod, who's the manager, went like that next day. I'm in charge here, no you. basically I'll be in charge of discipline. So Stainrod ended up being the director of football later on. He got promoted. Jim Duffy took over, and Dodge was away to St Johnstone. So
wow,
that was meant to be one of the reasons. But as I say, you always hear these things in that, so.
I love these stories that you get an insight to what might have been happening with these players. Listen, there's a game of football on tonight on the telly, football, and there's a lot of interest in Inverness because they're playing Partick Thistle. The two Thistles are playing. Chris, this is what football's about, I think. It's about two teams playing really good football. Inverness are now getting a big crowd. They're getting more people into the stadium. Partick Thistle are playing really good football under Mark Wilson. This looks like a cracker tonight.
I mean, they're only 2 games in, so obviously, the league position, great part to get the top and all the rest of it. But it's Friday night fit, but you can't beat it, as you say. So I'll definitely I'll catch the second half of the Dundee derby and hopefully just watch that game. So I mean, Partick Thistle are flying the now, but it's early yet, so I don't know.
But they're playing good football. That's the thing. You can see it. Mark Wilson's got a really good squad there, and he's got Mackay Stevens playing I think Mackay Stevens has gone to about 6 clubs and he's done nothing. And he's at Partick Thistle, and now Mark Wilson's got him playing really good football.
Well, I think he's I'll say it, he's an unintelligent guy that can play intelligent football sometimes. So
Bang on.
Get him a good day, and you'll again, like that guy Wilson, he could just score a screamer. You really don't. I don't think he knows either, but you really don't know what he's going to produce next.
Glenn, Inverness, Cali Thistle, putting all the stops out, trying to get the crowd going. Scott Keller, the manager, he's got a couple of Aberdeen players on loan. He's got a really formidable team as well. This has got all the hallmarks of a really good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Inverness currently Aberdeen reserve team at the moment, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, they've got the 2 guys on loan: Alfie Stewart, Alfie Babbage, Shinnie. They've got former Aberdeen player Ryan Duncan, and those guys really they played well against Hearts. They gave him a good run for the money for about 80 minutes, and I think there'll be quite a few Aberdeen fans going to follow it as well, because these Alfie Stewart and Alfie Babbage were going to get let go by Aberdeen, but the new manager came in and he's given them contracts, loaned about, and honestly they look like they're right up for this. And what a turnaround at Inverness from last season being League One in administration, falling out with their fans with the plans to play down at Kelty Hearts, etc. And it just shows you football. You can if you get the right team in there. The guy who took over it is an Inverness guy, and he really cares about the club, and he's put some money in. And look at them now. I mean, I know it was a defeat and quite a heavy one to Hearts, but the way they played and the gap between the two of them, I mean, it was a decent performance. They started the season quite well. I mean, there's 2 draws, but they're undefeated and they're playing decent football. This is the kind of stuff that gets people coming along to games, and I'll be watching it tonight.
Yeah, David, the Inverness Kelty Thistle are pulling out all the stops. I've got an email from them saying that there's a curry night before the match, so come along, get your curry, then watch the match. This is what you have to do, isn't it? And I've got to say, by the way, I've been to the football pitch down in Inverness for a few games, and I tell you, they've got the cheapest pies and sausage rolls in Scotland. But they've got the most expensive Bovril in Scotland. I can't work it out, so I just go down there and get my pies. I never mind the Bovril. But they're trying their best to get people interested in football again, which is a good thing.
That's a great thing. Norrie, if you've got a spare 30 seconds, come back to me and I'll tell you. You talk about 22 over at the golf. I can do a much better story than that in a professional golfer.
Just go for it now, David.
Well, there's a professional golfer who is recorded the highest score on a European tour, which was 111, 40 over par. And 3 years later, the same guy came back at the same tournament and won by 3 shots.
Wow.
A certain Mark James.
Was it? Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. Anyway, go back to the pie and the Bovril. I can't talk much about that because I've never tasted it. But what I have seen recently is Partick Thistle Easter Road, and I have to say, they played really well. And what always worries me as a player, but thankfully the Hibs defence ran him ragged for 45 minutes and he was gubbed. But yeah, they passed the ball about really well. They're a good team, no doubt.
Well, do you know this? They've got exciting players like Mackay Stevens, Tony Watts now with Partick Thistle playing really good football.
Aye.
But they've got players all over the pitch that can really play good football. And the thing is, well, at Inverness, they've got a team that are ready for this. I think just up for it, which I think is great for our game and great for the championship. Alan, there's just so many good things to be looking forward to our football at every level, not just the Premiership.
Championship's a good level, but I still think that like a Friday night game, asking Partick, is it? I take it's in Inverness.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It's up here.
Yeah, well, asking Partick fans to go up on a Friday night to Inverness, I think it's 120 miles. So they've got to leave work early. I mean, I assume some Partick fans have got a job. They've got to leave early. They've got to get up there. And so I think it's not encouragement for the Partick fans, who want to see their team. I mean, it's a good journey up. I mean, I quite enjoy it, but then I'm in the minority, so I can see that.
Imagine
some
being a
folk would
Plymouth
want to
or Portsmouth supporter. If you've got to go all the way all over England for a game, it happens in all countries,
Alan, could I just say that 3,500 Partick fans came to Easter Road, so some of them must have a job.
Oh well, they're good at burglary, working the night.
Listen, don't denigrate any other fans. We had a guy on who was denigrating all the Celtic fans, and we got rid of him because we couldn't have that. Let's go round. What do you think the score will be tonight? Just Chris, briefly.
2-1 to Partick.
2-1 to Partick, Glenn.
3-2 Inverness.
Ooh.
Yep. David.
I've never seen Inverness, so it's very difficult, but I'm going to go 2-2. 2-2.
Alan?
2-2.
Yeah, I'm going 2-2 as well. I think there's going to be goals in this game, but I think it's going to be tighter than you think. Two good teams. The Cup was last week. There was a big derby. By the way, can I just say thanks to Raymond Seaton, who sent me a Elgin City mug. He watches the show. Now that he's divorced, he's getting time to get peace and quiet and watch the sports show. His words, not mine. Thanks, Raymond. Last week, by the way, Alan, we've got Kilmarnock in the Cup away. That's one of the furthest we have to go for a football match. I think we'll be all right with that one. But Chris, any big upsets? Maybe your United's getting beat 3-2 by Kelly. That was a good game. That was on telly.
Yeah, again, it was one of the ones that I didn't predict. So, smashing game, plenty of goals. But yeah, I mean, you're sort of looking at McCann now and thinking, has the gloss worn off or whatever? But yeah, no, it's a smashing game. So, done them like a kicker, as they were.
Glenn, we had Dundee. That was a turnaround, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
I don't think I never saw that coming. We were so in the previous match against them, but no, fully deserved. I think the first half was fairly even, but then Aberdeen seemed to find their feet, and it was a decent performance. But is it going to be a roller coaster season? Are we going to go from like a terrible performance to decent performance, or will this be the start of something? We've got the weekend off, so we'll have to wait and see. I think we've got Rangers next, so that'll be interesting.
I think we'll get to that in a minute, but David, Motherwell getting put out by Steny, that was a big shock, wasn't it?
Not really. Marvin Bartley, yeah, no bother. On the subject of predictions, can I just remind you, gentlemen, all four of you last week predicted that Hibs would lose. And my next door neighbour, Karen, who watches live, you managed to upset her greatly. So I've been ordered to give it to you tonight. I know.
Listen, I'm quite happy to. Yeah, listen, get into us for that, because we've got to make a choice and we've got to say something for the show. I'm delighted that Hibs won that game.
David, I'll predict that they won't lose this weekend.
Not many people will, Glenn. Not many people will. Maybe one of the Dundee teams. Who knows?
Alan, I don't want to gloat too much, but what happened? What happened to Dundee? It just seemed like
you know what, Norrie, it turned on. Simon Murray was through on goal, and instead of shooting, and I think he probably could have. Well, at least he could have scored. He went down, and I think he went down too easily. And about 5 minutes later, he went down, and he's broken his ACL, and I think possibly maybe played his last game for Dundee, which is a shame because he's such a workhorse. He's the captain. He's such a workhorse. He lives, breathes, and he lives and breathes Dundee. He's a supporter. I think he's a great player, Simon Murray. And if that was his last game, then I'm sorry it ended in those sort of circumstances. I left after the third goal, much to the hilarity of a guy who looked like Harold Shipman, who'd been sitting giving me a beautiful game. We had a wee back and forth. I think I might have said to him he should get all his beard dye in the one place and not leave patches. But the last laugh was on him because I left early, so this was much to his hilarity. Yeah, it was disappointing. Aberdeen with the better side. I don't know what happened. You lose your striker, but didn't really have any striking options. And I think after the first goal went in, we just kind of gave up. So I have no complaints. The better side won. If you'd asked me beforehand, would I rather have had the points in the league or a cup? I would always say I'd rather have the cup because I'd rather progress. Yeah. I've never seen my team win a cup. So people say, it's better to get the 3 points in the league, but to me, that's a lot of crap. I always think a good cup run kind of boosts your fans and everything.
It does.
But Kelly Away, you know what? Kelly Away is probably my favourite away day. I really like that hotel that they've got down there. You always get a good. Denigrating the Partick fans. Well, I'm gonna big up the Kelly fans because I always think they are probably I know loads of Kelly fans from Scotland, and you always get a good bab banter down there. And the hotel's
you know what
always
else, Alan? You get down in Kilmarnock, you get a mince roll. He opens up a roll and he pours a ladle of mince into it. I've never had this anywhere else in Scotland. A mince roll, man alive, man.
Well,
God. How do you think the draw was? I mean, Chris, the tie, Celtic Rangers, Aberdeen have got Killie. Who Motherwell, Hibs? Who have Hibs got?
Ross County.
Ross County beat Dunfermline. That's the one we missed out, by the way. A great result for Ross County, away from home, playing well under Stuart Kettlewell, really doing well. What do you fancy, Chris?
For the cup?
Or the next round?
Right. I would fancy, I'm tempted to go against Hibs again just because I think
you did so well last time. Come on. Give us
I think I'm leading it. I think I missed out 1 week to the predictions. I'm still in top, I believe, but we can worry about that later. No, so I'll go for Ross County, and I think Aberdeen and Celtic to Horse Rangers. That's there we go.
So Aberdeen to beat Kelly. I'm taking that. I think we'll get an away win, Glenn. I'm quite confident Aberdeen. I think we're on the right attack. Nizzy's playing out of his skin. He's there at the right time, getting the poachers' goals. Long may that continue.
Yeah, he's got a cracking run, isn't he? And normally lots of clubs go down to Killie and they're like, "Oh, love of God, on the plastic pitch, etc." But it's gone, and I think that's a big loss for Killie. Home advantage is not the same. So yes. I think Aberdeen have got a reasonable chance of getting a result there. But again, it just depends which team turns up. If the team that played Dundee a couple of weeks back turns up, then no, we've got no chance. But let's just wait and see. It'll be strange. I'd give him another few weeks, and we'll have a better idea of where Aberdeen are.
Aye, I think so. David, Hibs have got to win the cup now, haven't they? We've all said they can't win it, so they've got to win it.
No, I wouldn't say we've got to win it, but I'd like to think they get through the next tie. But I think Aberdeen will get through. and I'm pretty certain Celtic get through. I think the potential banana skin is the other one. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, there is a lot. I don't know. I think Aberdeen might just nick it. It'll be a close game. The way Celtic's playing and then the way Rangers are playing, Alan, that seems a foregone conclusion. But it's an old firm game, and form can go out the window sometimes.
Was out the window all the time. I think Rangers probably won't give Celtic any allocation. I think they'll probably look at the minimum that they can give them. Yeah. They'll give them 500 tickets, which is a pity because I always think that the fixture is kind of diluted. So Celtic always used to have the Broomloan stand, and Rangers always used to get that corner bit of Parkhead, and I think that not having that dilutes the fixture. Yes, there is issues with it, but there always has been. Well, there always has been, and there probably always will be. But I think if you can get good policing, then you can kind of nip most of that in the bud. But I can't see past Celtic at that one. I really can't. Rangers are just they're abysmal at the moment, and Celtic are hitting form, and I just can't see any. I can't see past the Celtic side. But you know what? I'm going to predict Hibs to win it, just for you, Davey.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate that.
Any banana skins in the next round?
I don't know. I think the Killie Aberdeen one's a bit more closer. Again, I think Killie were not being at the races, but then they produced the performance against Ayr. Aberdeen were abysmal one week and then really good the next week. So two teams that are you can't really say what team's going to turn up. So, but you know what? I can't see there being any upsets in this one, but who knows? Maybe Ross County. I've seen Ross County a couple of times this season, and they look okay. So
they do. They look sound. The talk of the steamy up here as well. The two teams. Listen, that's it. We've run out of time. We'll do it all again next week. But I've really enjoyed it. Did we have we've got the questions done, didn't we, Glenn?
There's one more. Do you want it?
Well, we can leave it hanging for next week if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Bear with me a wee second here. So this one is for everybody as well. Bear with me. Which derby rivalry is the only one in the world to have their stadiums closer to each other than Dundee United?
I was going to go.
Is that just in Scotland or worldwide?
No, in the world. So Dundee United are 183 metres apart, apparently. But there is one closer in the world.
But two teams share it. Does that count? San Siro?
Well, no, that doesn't count. No, because that's the same stadium.
That's just one.
No.
Well,
two stadiums that are close together.
Right.
Lazio and Roma share as well, and so do Genoa and Sampdoria.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Grand Sharing doesn't count.
That's a great question to leave hanging. Listen, we'll have to call it a day there because my belly's rumbling. I've got to get some food. If you liked what you saw, please make a comment, subscribe, like, share, all the nice things. It helps us promote the programme. Until next week, guys, all the very best. Enjoy your sport.
Right.
Cheers, guys.
Have a nice one, guys. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers.